getting into motorsports is what every car enthusiast really dreams of. But the answer is, how do you get there? Well, today I kind of want to talk about a few ways to get there. And as a little backstory, I've worked with 4 different Formula Drift teams this year. Kind of a weird flex, yes, but I did. So yeah, possibly a bad flex. So I not only have personal experience, but I've been able to talk to, frankly, dozens of people who work in Formula Drift and other motorsports series who get to travel all over the US and the world doing motorsports for a living. So today I want to walk through some of the steps that I've learned, and maybe you can apply them to your life. And before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, because that's how I'm able to make videos just like this for you. So anyways, let's get right into it. When it comes to me, I had a very unique situation. I got very good at video games and became an esports driver for a Formula Drift driver. And as the season began to creep closer during my first year, I threw a Hail Mary. And I'm like, hey, I would love to be more involved with the team besides just the esports stuff. Because a side tangent, I'd say 99.9% of these esports drivers for Drift Masters or Formula Drift or D1 GP, whatever it may be, in the drifting space in esports, a lot of these people are sadly fangirls, and they take all personal respect away from themselves in order to be on this team. And while frankly, yes, you are young and you're new to the motorsports scene, you should do stuff not only for free, but I guess without, anything in return. But to counter that argument, you still have value, and people should see the value in you. So I don't want to dive too deep into this, because this could be a whole separate video. All I'm saying is, if you have a unique skill set, which is the first thing, especially on the esports side or the gaming side or anything like that, please do not fangirl your driver. Sure, you can be respectful. That, of course, you're a decent human being. You should be respectful, but you shouldn't fangirl and go to the extent of, I guess, worshiping said driver, because that's fucking weird and unprofessional. So solution number 1, which in my opinion is kind of the hardest, is have a unique skill set. Whether it's a sim driver, you could also be a truck driver, or things that require a niche, I guess. Something that a normal person can't just walk in and start working on that day. You have to build up those skills in order to do it. So that brings me to my second solution, which is one of the less unique situation, but the most common in any sort of motorsports paddock, which is the mechanic. For Formula Drift, at least in my experience, the least amount of people I see per team that are mechanics is 2, and the most it's a dozen plus or more. And with other motorsports such as IMSA or F1 or any sort of other motorsport, you not only have mechanics, but you also have engineers, race strategists, etc., etc. Getting into these positions are going to be your easiest way, because you go through schooling, you apply, you get experience, etc., etc. So the ways to get there is, first thing, go to local events or smaller events. If you're wanting to work for IMSA, maybe go to a track day or an SCCA. Just lend a helping hand where you can. You gotta shake hands and kiss a lot of babies, because you gotta make sure that you're proving your worth. You have to prove you are good, because there are probably a bunch of people trying to fight for that spot. So you gotta prove that you are, applicable to what you say you can do. And my final thing is provide as much value as possible. And again, it goes back to my first point with the esports drivers. Still value yourself. Find value in yourself. You have a unique skill set, and you can lend a helping hand and be useful to a team. So don't just go willy-nilly and say, oh, the pleasure of being here, I don't need to be, paid, I don't need anything, blah, 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 blah. It gets expensive quick. And again, you should be respected, and your value should be valued. To add to this, as sort of like a 2.1, I didn't write this in my notes, but the next point is being a spotter. Now, I've done this for a couple of the teams I've worked for this year, and spotting is a very, again, unique position. Whether you're a spotter in oval track racing, FD, IMSA, whatever it is. I guess in F1 and Formula Series, it would be more of your race strategist slash the person in your ear, such as GP for Max Verstappen, as an example. This is going to be a difficult set to get into because, one, you need to know and understand the driver. It's not really a hireable position. It's more of a reach out and be like, hey, do you want to do this sort of thing? Not really where you could, hire people out. It's very niche being a spotter in any sort of motorsport. And you have to be a freaking nerd about said motorsport. You need to understand the rules clearly. You need to understand the implications that the driver makes to the cars, what you do with the cars, etc., because, well, if you don't, then what's the point? For example, in FD, you need to understand all of the rules, how the car works, what is happening during transitions, drifting, all that fun stuff. If you're an oval track racer, you need to understand different lingo, what's happening all the time at the track, and have the vocal cords of an absolute G, because you're gonna be talking a lot as a spotter in oval track racing. And again, if you're a lead analyst or strategist, I honestly forgot the name of them, but in any sort of Formula, IMSA, F1, anything like that, you also have to be an expert and you have to communicate very well. So this brings me to my third point, which might actually be my favorite, and that is the creatives of the motorsport paddock. A motorsports team, at least how I see the successful ones, are glorified marketing agencies when it comes to advertisement, online video and photo content, content for partners, and then of course your super fast billboard, aka your race car. You need content and people with unique angles for your content for not only your socials, but also partner needs for, any sort of events you go to, ads, etc. Every single successful motorsport program I see has a team of content people, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or even 6 people. They have people on the ground always filming, getting content, because that's the age we live in. Can't just be good anymore. You also have to have social media and a presence and all that fun stuff, which in my opinion is a great thing. That means we're moving in a good direction. So after talking to some of the best in the business, here's how to get started and to get to a bigger motorsport venue. Number 1, this is kind of obvious, go to local events. Whether it be an hour, 2, 3 hours away, plan out your year. See what events you want to go to and apply to be media there. Number 2 is do free shit. If you're new, you don't have a name and you can't be walking up to people being like, hey, you want X, Y, and Z? You gotta pay me this. You gotta create some sort of presence for yourself. You have to be the authority figure. So doing stuff for free, you're gonna have to do that in the beginning, but don't do it for too long. The third thing is to get good. You're not special. Whatever story you have, you need to have undoubtable proof that you are the best at what you do, or that you are freaking fantastic. Every single media person I see in FD is freaking fantastic, and they didn't just show up one day and started to be fantastic. It took years for them to get to the point that they're at today. Number 4 is to post stuff on your own page. Have your own media page, whatever your name is. For my example, if I had a media thing, it could be Brandon Gardner Media, and I'd post up videos and photos of events I go to that aren't client work, and I could just post them up and people will see it, and hopefully some other teams will see it and want to use you for your work. And number 5 is to run a business. Creative stuff is a form of art, and a lot of creatives I talk to, they just do it because, it's their passion and they feel good about it. But if you want to do this full time and you want to live, people aren't just going to hand you money and be like, here you go. 99% of people aren't like that. I think no one is like that. You have to run everything like a business. Video packages, retainers, whatever it may be. Be able to take what you love and what you're passionate about, that art form, and turn it into a business, because that's how you're gonna sustain doing it. And my final point to this saga is vendoring, working for a vendor or working at a track. Hospitality, engineers, truck drivers, or different positions in vendors is fantastic. The vendors and the sponsors of a series are the backbone of said series. They're the people who give the series money and help make it run. For example, if you like and are well knowledgeable in sim racing and you like drifting, you should work at the Extreme Sim Racing Sim Magic booth, because you'll probably be good at it. I got the pleasure of working there during Irwindale, and it was a lot different of an experience. Set up, tear down, a lot longer than being a spotter. And you have sort of a whole organization that you're representing and you're treating it as a business opportunity. To be fair, it's also a lot less chill than it is to be on a race team. You can't really watch the race as much as you'd think. You can maybe catch a couple battles here and there or a couple minutes of the race, but for the most part, you're working your booth, your vendor, because frankly, you don't want to go negative that weekend, and you want as much reach and to talk to as many people, shake as many hands, kiss as many babies as humanly possible. And then of course there's the more traditional positions. If you're an engineer and you want to work in FD, well, maybe getting a job at Kenda, GT Radial, or Toyota would be your best bet. Then you could come out to events and again, talk to partner drivers, do all that fun stuff, and you'll probably get to watch the race too. And to be honest, to get these positions, it's really a game of the right place at the right time and knowing the right people. Because I say this quite often, your network is your net worth. If you have someone who works for Toyota or Kenda or GT Radial or any other tire brand or whatever it may be, and you are an engineer and you want to get there, they could probably help you out. So my final point to this video is there are so many opportunities in motorsport. Whatever you seem fit, whatever skill you have, there's probably a place for you to fit in. But again, it's being at the right place at the right time, and your network is your net worth. That's how you're gonna get to the positions that you wanna get to. So thank you for watching this video. Feel free to share this with a friend and share your story about how you're working in motorsport, why you want to work in motorsport, or how you're gonna start working in motorsport. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.